The point of life is to live and experience new things. Experiencing everything, both the good and the bad, is to truly be alive. We know there can't be any good without the bad, happy without sad. Life comes in waves. Sometimes we're higher and sometimes we're lower, but neither point ever stays forever. You cannot have one without the other. All good times must come to an end, the same way all bad times will eventually end. You will always prevail. You cannot achieve greatness without enduring through the hardship. Life isn't about feeling the pain of your situations and questioning why this is your reality or why you deserve to feel this way. Life is about taking on challenges and solving problems just as much as it is about loving, laughing, and experiencing joy. When we're willing to face challenges and step out of our comfort zone, we get comfortable in the bad times and the good times. We can become at peace with accepting that life is one uncomfortable roller coaster where you don't get a say if it sometimes rolls backwards at the apex of its drop. And if we can embrace and accept that life brings us challenges, then we will always be prepared for the next ones to come. Don't panic, simply go along for the ride with the roller coaster, even when it goes backwards. This is why younger trauma and first experiences cause longer lasting effects on somebody than somebody who has had time to grow, fail, and grow again. When you're a kid or a teenager or a young adult, you tend to be more reactive towards criticism and life's tribulations and internalize the failures as character traits instead of accepting them as life's challenges. Since you haven't experienced it before, you aren't familiar with them. Meanwhile, mature adults who are emotionally intelligent have achieved emotional security through experiencing these situations often throughout the course of their lifetime. This is why adults tend to be more calm and productive when a situation arises, allowing them to deal with the problem without taking it as a personal fault, whereas younger people tend to react much more chaotically and internalize the blame, leading to victimization mindsets and fear of trying again. You may have experienced this regardless of your age through life events, such as the first loss of a relationship, loss of a job, or the first time you lost a friend or best friend. You internalize the fact that those relationships with people failed because you feel it was your fault, or that you feel you weren't good enough. If we take the criticism from the angry ex or the angry employer and believe it is our fault, even when it wasn't, then we are only damaging ourselves and setting ourselves up to believe we can't achieve better in the future for ourselves. I'm sure as life goes on, it will teach you many more lessons. Lessons that I can't predict or foresee coming, even for myself. Completely new surprises, both good and bad, that I will have to overcome instead of submitting myself to. For example, I recently put a large investment into a car after years of being frightened to drive. Finally built up the confidence and I ended up crashing the car within 6 months of getting my license. The mental fallout that came with the incident was tremendous, and I was harboring resentment against myself for weeks. The point is, life will likely continue teaching you lessons that you won't expect until the day you die. The roller coaster will always dip down just as it will eventually rise up, and we don't always see the drops coming. Life is full of triumphs and tribulations. It's how we react, respond, and control ourselves throughout a situation that reflects how your life will be dictated. Some people grow up and never find the ability to enjoy the highs as well as the lows in life, and often react emotionally and erratically when problems arise. Imagine how you would feel if you went through life believing everything was your fault. The divorce of your parents, the death of a pet, the abuse you endured, the failure of a relationship with an ex, the failure of employment, failure in your career, failure at school, or any other event that somebody could consider traumatic. You would constantly be on edge, defensive, anxious, and unwilling to take risks or try new things due to the fear of failure. You put yourself into a box when in reality, these things just happen. They're going to happen. They're inevitable. Sometimes life is traumatic, sometimes the roller coaster dips, and sometimes life is beautiful, and sometimes it rises. It's out of your power and something you can't control. You're on the ride, along for the ride, not at the on and off switch. You have to go with the flow and accept it. But if you're stuck inside your box, you can't get out of it to enjoy the views along the way. This means that while you may be at a low point, or a high point, you can still take in the views and enjoy the fact that you're there to experience the journey in the first place, regardless if it's a high or low. Each pitfall comes with lessons and experiences. I wouldn't know how to love in a healthy way had I not eventually found my person to grow with. It took time and it took mistakes, but I had to accept that losing the first relationship I had was just a sad moment at the time. Simple dip in the ride. However, I didn't know that those lessons I learned from that painful experience would heal me and teach me to love more properly today. My first pet passing was traumatizing, and my first personal experience with death, but it prepared me to help others through the pain of that loss as well. While I still grieve the experience, death is inevitable, and all good things must end. What I must cherish is the experience of having my cat in the first place, and all the memories that we created, all the love that we shared, and be grateful that he had a high quality of life. I cherish the lessons and knowledge I've learned from his passing, that I can use to aid others who suffer through similar loss for the first time. Although I miss my pets dearly, and the sadness and pain sucked, I would never regret the life I got to provide them, even if it meant I had to endure the pain when he passed. When I'm on my deathbed, would I rather have avoided the pain of my cat's death by not getting the cats in the first place? Would I have preferred to remain a pedestrian so that I never crashed my car? Should I have stayed away from dating after losing one girlfriend and assume that it was my fault? Should I give up on working and internalize failure towards myself because I didn't fit in at certain workplaces? No. All these things I'm glad for, and I cherish. Well, I'm not glad I crashed, but I'm glad for the lessons that I learned from it. It taught me how to handle driving much more safely. While I'm not glad that I didn't fit into certain workplaces and it sucked, it taught me lessons about who I am and where I should be and what I do want to do with my life. And if I didn't experience the loss of that job, that reaction wouldn't have been triggered. You shouldn't live your life scared and avoid living life in order to avoid pain and trauma. It is inevitable to experience these things, just as it is inevitable to experience the great joys of life. You should learn to accept that life has challenges for you, and that all challenges can be learned from, just as you have great joys and peaks to hit that you can learn from as well. You can grow from the challenges, and you can help others grow because you've experienced those challenges. Instead, when I'm on my deathbed, I don't believe I'm going to regret getting my animals, or driving, or taking chances and taking risks. I believe I will regret each pointless argument I had with the people I loved. I will regret every time I didn't drop my point, each idea I procrastinated because I was too scared to try again or to put myself out there, each job opportunity I passed up because I lacked the self-confidence to believe I could achieve these positions. I will regret the life that I failed to live because I allowed myself to live in the fear of failure. I won't regret trying and learning the lessons. What I won't regret is the tears shed and the love given. Even if I lost those people, like a best friend, I would still cherish the moments we had together and the lessons from the loss rather than being spiteful over the circumstances and scared to find another friend, blaming myself. I won't regret the situations I got hurt from, constantly trying and failing, even though in the moment it's hard not to regret it. It's hard not to feel stupid for the car accident, but when I'm on my deathbed, I'll look back at the loved ones who supported me through it and the experience it taught me to become more careful. And I'll be grateful for the ones who came to aid me by my side when I really needed it. When I look back at the death of my family members, I won't look hatefully towards God and question why and be angry. At least I hope not. I'll look back at the good times we had and the important moments we shared, because I understand. I'll regret all the chances I didn't take because I was scared to try again. I'll regret all the times I was reactive when the situation needed me to be calm. I won't regret the pain I felt or the situations that are out of my control themselves, as life is inevitable and you are simply along for the ride. Master how you react, and you will master your mental state throughout the good times and the bad times. As a kid, I had many factors that created my personal depression, without a single traumatic factor involved. No abuse or maltreatment. My parents were incredible and loving. I simply had a profound lack of purpose, and existential thinking from a young age had me wondering what the point of life was. Religion held no answers for me, as I didn't understand God could be real while so much suffering and greed on earth existed. There's so much more out there to the worlds, even. We barely explored our own oceans, or space, while we're here busy building and investing into the next hot new trend for profit, currently AI, destroying our earth in the process. There's so much more important things than making a profit like I was seeing all these big corporations do. As you'll see, I talk on this channel a lot about life, emotions, and investing. A key concept I highlight often is the rat race, and watching my parents struggle in it also compounded onto the questions in my head, which developed into sadness at a young age. I felt sorry that they could never experience life in the way others could around us, and it had me wondering if this was really all our purpose was. To be born, raised through pain and happiness, forced to work a job you dislike often, in order to barely make ends meet for 40 years, like my family, just to finally reach a retirement age that you cannot afford and then pass away, likely in debt. Death was something I thought of often, and was constantly wondering when or how my friends or family would pass. I literally couldn't turn my brain off from these destructive thoughts. However, as I grew older with them, I learned to live with these thoughts, accepting not all questions can be answered, and tried to push them to the back of my mind. Eventually, through life experience, I learned that life has a lot of happiness, but a lot of sadness as well. It's a lot easier to fixate on the sadness when it already surrounds you, leading to what people often refer to as a victimization mindset. While I was stuck in this mindset at a young age, without knowing so, this is when I created the roller coaster mentality I've been living my life through ever since. Hard times won't last forever. Just because my parents struggled doesn't mean they didn't live, breathe, and experience joy. I wish I could provide a better life for them, and I hope and I aim to. But I think life experiences have taught me to accept the pitfalls that come with life, as well as the peaks, as my mentality has shifted quite a bit since I was that inquisitive child, and that has protected me from damaging myself by placing unnecessary fault on myself when life is in one of its unavoidable valleys, and instead accepting to embrace the uncomfortable, painful part of the ride as a section of the overall experience and not a representation of the entire experience itself. Thanks for listening, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you related to it, found it useful, and actually connected with it. If anybody even watches this at all, really, I'm just putting this out there for myself just to keep a mental log of keeping myself responsible of my own actions, making sure I don't fall back into bad habits and bad spending and addictive personality traits like smoking and so on, so on. Not sleeping right, not eating right. So, just on a path to try and figure things out. And that was something that I figured I'd share because the car incident was definitely an unforeseen shakeup, and figuring out how to navigate how you should react to unforeseen circumstances that are very detrimental to your life is very new to me and something that I feel like a lot of people could benefit from learning from. A lot of people don't know how to regulate their emotions, and it gets them into much worse situations than if they were just calm. So it is my first video. Um, I have done like 20 takes on this. This is probably the billionth outro I've tried. So I just really want to say thank you guys for listening at all if you have, and I hope you found something useful. If you do, continue listening in the future because I'm going to post more things like it. Thank you guys for taking the time, and I hope you have a wonderful day.